Cypress Development Corp's flagship lithium project is located just east of Albemarle's Silver Peak mine in the heart of Clayton Valley, Nevada. A 12-hole exploration drill program for lithium-enriched claystone on Cypress's 100% controlled properties is now underway. Cypress Development Corp trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol CYP, the Pink's CYDVF, and on Frankfurt's C1Z1. For more information, please visit our website, cypressdevelopmentcorp.com.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Jordan Bateman, Communications Director of the Independent Contractors and Business Association. His website, icba.ca. Welcome back to the show, Jordan.
Thanks for having me, Jim, and Merry Christmas to you and to all your listeners. It's been a great year, and I'm hoping 2019 bucks expectations and is even better.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, we did the association's naughty list. You have a top 3 nice list. Okay, well, let's start with number 3.
Okay. So number 3, I'm going to say Jason Kenney and Rachel Notley, which sounds odd since they are at each other's throats, really locked in already an election in Alberta. Rachel Notley, of course, the first NDP premier of Alberta, breaking decades, I think 40-something years of conservative rule. And Jason Kenney, the leader of the opposition, leader of the new United Conservative Party. The polls seem to indicate that he will sweep to power next year. But both of them are on the nice list because, my goodness, you could not have asked for more from these two to advance the interests of their province and of their oil industry and of the pipeline construction industry. You could not have asked for more from these two. They have been everywhere. They have led the charge. Separately, sometimes heckling each other over not going quite far enough, but they've done everything they can, I think, to try to get this Trans Mountain pipeline built. They realize that this is an existential threat to the Canadian oil industry. They've taken it very seriously. Jason Kenney, Rachel Notley, they're sharing a spot on my nice list this year.
Was Rachel right to restrict oil shipments from Alberta? Because Mr. Kenney suggested the same thing.
Well, this is exactly it, right? Like, there's no bad, a good idea. It doesn't matter where it comes from. And, kudos to Rachel Notley for, not ignoring the idea simply because it was Jason Kenney. I am not, an oil supply industry expert. However, I did have the opportunity to chat with Gwyn Morgan, who was the founding CEO of Encana, at one time Canada's largest energy company. Now, unfortunately, looks like it's moving its headquarters to the United States, mainly because of the lack of support for oil and gas in Canada. But Gwyn Morgan was said to me flat out that cutting the supply is probably the right way to bring back the prices, even slightly. And it does put pressure on everyone else to try to get this other pipeline built. And when you consider the alternative, which is Alberta buying hundreds, maybe thousands of rail cars and shipping oil on rail lines alongside the Fraser River through communities in British Columbia, it does seem like it makes some sense. So you have to trust at some point. On these really macroeconomic issues, you have to trust people's expertise. I certainly think that an idea that Jason Kenney and Rachel Notley and Gwyn Morgan can all find common ground on is probably the right way to go.
Would adding one extra ship a day to the Strait of Georgia really increase the risk to marine life, in your opinion?
Oh, gosh, no. No, I mean, just go online and look at the map now of where all the U.S. tankers are. And, it's the Canadian environmental movement should be absolutely ashamed of itself. It's been un-Canadian how they have been bought off by the Americans and, are desperate to keep Canadian oil and gas in the ground. While the Americans, continue to ship oil and gas all over, our Salish Sea, all over our square of the Pacific Ocean. It really is kind of an embarrassing thing. I don't know how they can consider themselves Canadian, when all they've done is damage the Canadian interests. If it really was about cleaning up oil and gas industries, they would be going to places where the oil and gas industry is the dirtiest in the world, not the place where it's one of the cleanest in the world. They'd go to places where, they have thousands of ships, not, a dozen ships. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And, if you want a late addition to the naughty list, you've talked me into it, Jim. Let's put the Canadian eco-activist movement on the naughty list, too.
Well, is it true things like Greenpeace is not an environmental organization? They're a commercial company run out of Germany. Do they just take money from anybody and then slam somebody else to help the profits of whatever particular company hired them?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that is seemingly the narrative that's starting to build around Greenpeace as more and more court cases happen, more and more evidence comes to light. They don't care about facts. They care about raising money in their next email. And, it's not good. Like, we see these groups popping up all over Canada. It's appalling. I could go on for entire podcasts about some of these groups, but for me, it comes down to the Canadian test. Like, are you doing what's best for Canada, or absolutely, like, put pressure on industry to clean up, to do more? That all makes sense to me, but actually turning a blind eye to what's happening in the United States simply because you get money from the American foundations and big American environmental groups, I find that appalling.
Is it not true as well in Seattle there are protests calling for pipelines to their waterfront because they don't want the risk of oil being transported by rail or truck?
Yeah, like, if you can get oil off of rail or truck, it's much, much safer. It goes a long way to making it a lot safer. I've been kind of looking around. Like, there's a group in the north called the Unistoten. They're a rogue branch of a First Nation who's bucking their First Nation support for LNG Canada, and they have an illegal encampment along the Coastal GasLink route, and LNG Canada has now had to go to court to try to get an injunction for them to clear the way. But I'm looking at who supports them, like who's pledging to stand with them, and it's groups like the Civil Liberties Defense Center based in Eugene, Oregon, Portland Rising Tide organization based in Portland, Oregon. There's a group called Hands Off Unistoten, based in Bellingham. The Sacred Stone Camp, who once protested the Dakota Access Pipeline, they now oppose the LNG Canada project. 350 Seattle. It's just American group after American group. Portland Rising Tide, the Bernie Crats, which is a group with like almost 50,000 members on Facebook, supported Bernie Sanders. For some reason, they think that, the LNG Canada project should stop. So these groups it's so disgusting how, they take money from Americans and protest this stuff.
Coming up, Jason Bateman's number 2 on his nice list for the year.
I'm Douglas Mason, CEO of Naturally Splendid, symbol NSP on the TSX Venture Exchange. Naturally Splendid is a biotechnology and consumer products company focused on the global cannabis and health markets. Naturally Splendid is expanding distribution in this rapidly growing market with products currently in Canada, the USA, South Korea, Germany, and Australia. To view our comprehensive company presentation and for more information, please visit our website at naturallysplendid.com.
I'm Kelly Jennings, CEO of PowerBand Solutions. PowerBand is a cloud-based provider of auction, inventory, and finance solutions that make buying, selling, and financing vehicles more efficient. PowerBand Solutions trades on the TSX Venture Exchange symbol PBX and on the OTCQB symbol PWWPF and on Frankfurt symbol 1ZV. For more information, please visit us at powerbandsolutions.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman. Jordan, who do you think is number 2 on the nice list for your association this year?
Well, for us, it's LNG Canada, and this is a remarkable project, the single largest private investment in Canadian history, a $30 billion LNG plant, $10 billion pipeline across the province from basically the Fort St. John area all the way across to Kitimat. This is the largest economic driver we've ever seen in this country as far as a responsible resource development project. And, it's being done without government money. This isn't like Site C, which is built by taxpayers. It's not like the Patello Bridge, which is built by taxpayers. This is private investment coming into Canada, coming into British Columbia. It's already being transformative. Just the announcement they're going to do it in Kitimat and in surrounding areas. We're hopeful that Coastal GasLink project breaks ground quickly, because that will spark more natural gas exploration in the northeast of BC. You cannot overestimate how important LNG Canada will be to the British Columbia economy in the next few years.
What about the spin-offs from it? They plan to spend $40 billion on the project, but obviously more people are going to be employed in industries that help them out. And what about real estate or just restaurants in the area? Yeah,
the real estate boom is already happening in Kitimat. You just think about it, right? Let's say Kitimat doubles in size, which it could do. That means you're going to need more accountants, more hairdressers, more lawyers, more shop owners. You're going to need another post. There's so many jobs that go along with it. You have all the kind of service industries, so driving force, for example, which rents fleets of vehicles for construction and resource development projects. All of these different industries will begin to boom thanks to this LNG spending. And it is such a huge project. It'll actually skew our statistics as to how fast the Canadian economy is growing, and certainly how fast the BC economy is growing. It's actually going to mask a lot of bad news. If there's one person who should be the happiest with LNG Canada, it's probably Finance Minister Carol James, because as she continues to overspend and eventually runs out of new taxes to increase in order to balance that spending, it's going to be LNG Canada's money that helps kind of carry that load. So it is a fantastic project. We're talking thousands of jobs. It really is going to be transformative for the North.
Wood Fibre Canada, who plans to or would like to build an LNG plant in Squamish, has already come up with a $1.1 billion agreement with the local Aboriginal band. Is that the way to go when it comes to resource development in British Columbia? Make sure the original owners of the land are satisfied.
Yeah, it certainly helps. I mean, Wood Fibre is a smaller project than LNG Canada. It's going to be a few $1 billion. And, we say that like it's nothing. That's still a significant investment in this country and in this province. But it could really offer a template for a lot of these smaller LNG plants. Think of LNG Canada as kind of the Budweiser or the Molson Canadian of LNG, and then think of Wood Fibre as sort of the craft beer. The Phillips, the Blue Buck is my favorite, Phillips out of Victoria, craft beer. We can have more of these little LNG plants, and by little I still mean multiple billions of dollars, in 4 or 5 different places in the province, all kind of there operating under the draft provided by LNG Canada is a very significant investment.
Coming up, Jordan Bateman's number 1 on his nice list.
Grand Portage Resources recently completed the 2018 drill program on its 100% controlled Herbert Gold Discovery property located in the prolific Juneau Belt in southeast Alaska. Drill results are expected through late 2018. Past drill results included numerous multi-ounce gold assays on multiple veins. Grand Portage trading symbols are GPG on the TSX Venture, GPTRF on the OTCQB, and GPB on Frankfurt. For more information, please visit our website, grandportage.com.
I'm Kelly Jennings, CEO of Powerband Solutions. Powerband is a cloud-based provider of auction, inventory, and finance solutions that make buying, selling, and financing vehicles more efficient. Powerband Solutions trades on the TSX Venture Exchange symbol PBX and on the OTCQB symbol PWWBF and on Frankfurt symbol 1ZV. For more information, please visit us at powerbandsolutions.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman from he's the communications director of the Independent Contractors and Business Association. Number 1 on your nice list this year.
Number 1, it's shared by the 250,000 people in British Columbia who work construction in this province. The men and women who are building the roads, building the highways, building the bridges, the transit projects, the the homes, the condos, the schools, the men and women who really are powering this economy. Together, those 250,000 construction workers contribute almost 9% of the provincial GDP. We talk a lot in this province about the tech industry and film and, even, classic industries like forestry. All of them pale in comparison as far as economic returns to construction. Construction is quite quietly the foundation on which the BC economy is built.
Did they feel slighted when Justin Trudeau claimed that somehow pipeline workers were a threat to rural Canada?
Yeah, absolutely. They were outraged by that. I mean, these are the men and women who are out there building these projects, and now they're being told by the Prime Minister that there's some sort of threat to the very communities to which they're trying to provide critical infrastructure. So that was, that certainly landed Justin Trudeau on our naughty list a couple of weeks ago. It was a tone-deaf, brain-dead comment by a guy who, should be doing everything he can to encourage more people to go into construction, not trying to belittle them.
Should efforts be increased by governments to encourage people to go into the construction trades?
Yeah, absolutely. And where it flows from is comments from leaders. So, pardon me, Jim. So, you have Andrew Weaver and you have John Horgan, you have Justin Trudeau, and they kind of look down their nose at construction workers. Like, oh, if you're, smart, you should be going into, the tech economy, or, blue collar jobs are for, the dumb jock or those kind of really ugly stereotypes. The opposite is true. If you're an entrepreneur, we encourage you, go into the trades, because, you'll start building, you'll learn, construction techniques. If you're entrepreneurial at all, you'll find a moment where you'll strike out on your own and form your own crew and your own company, and that's how you really begin to make a lot of money in this province. So the opportunities are there. It's just a matter of parents, of counselors, of teachers, of people who don't necessarily work in the construction industry actually speaking nicely and kindly of it, speaking highly of it, and of the opportunities in it.
Jordan, have a great Christmas.
Thanks, Jim, and Merry Christmas again to you and to your listeners. I look forward to talking to you next year.
Best of the holidays to everybody. My guest has been Jordan Bateman, Communications Director for the Independent Contractors and Business Association. His website, icba.ca. You're listening to the Goddard Report on TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet, our YouTube channel, Talk Digital Network. Questions for the show or our guests can be sent to info@howstreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Happy holidays.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.